Hello, and welcome in to this Friday's edition of Pod Dammit, our 12th edition. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you were correct on that.
I'm your host, Ryan, and I am joined by...
Silas.
And Austin here in the studio.
Yeah, welcome in. How is your guys' Friday going so far?
It's been okay. I had class at noon, which was interesting to say the least, but...
I bet it was. I woke up not about 3 hours ago, so I'm just now getting my day started, but got some good plans, so hopefully everything goes smoothly.
Cool. Well, happy Friday, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We have a very interesting show lined up, and I do want to start off with the first topic, which is Marvel's Kevin Feige is really angry about, and embarrassed apparently, with the Black Widow lawsuit. So basically what's happening here with that is, the Black Widow, was it her origin movie?
It's kind of an origin story. It's more like... it's like set between two of the movies, but it's like going back into her past and like righting the wrongs of her past.
Okay.
Basically.
I would still consider it an origin story because it does explain how she got into the Black Widow program and the Red Room program. So I would still call it an origin story, but the main set piece of the story does take place, I believe, between Captain America: Civil War and then Avengers: Infinity War.
So, why do I feel so loud? I don't know, it's just me. But, so Scarlett Johansson is suing, I believe Disney Plus and Marvel maybe. But, so what happened was, it released on Disney Plus same day as in theaters, and she's pissed because it's costing her like millions of dollars, the fact that it's being released on Disney Plus. Does that feel warranted to you guys to be angry about that?
I mean, I guess she can be mad about it, but also at the same time, she has a signed contract with Marvel, which is Disney. So at the end of the day, it's Disney's decision how they want to release that video.
She's basically upset because she's not getting the money that is being generated from Disney Plus.
Exactly, yeah.
From customers paying the $30 premium to watch the movie on Disney Plus. Yeah,
for what she could have made if it was strictly in theaters, because it would have forced more people to go to the theater to see it.
Correct.
Yeah.
I agree with Silas. I think she has a warrant and a right to be upset and angry about it. But as Silas said, at the end of the day, she has a contract with Marvel. Marvel is ultimately run by Disney, and so obviously I don't think she'll win the lawsuit. I'm rooting for her, but I don't think she'll win. But at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen with the streaming softwares like Disney Plus, like HBO Max, like what's another one? I'm not going to say Netflix because the Netflix runs the contracts themselves. Basically those two, Disney Plus and HBO Max, because they're owned by the corporations, and if someone signs a contract with them or with the studio that runs it, then they're not going to be able to get the money generated from those streaming services. So.
Yeah, and I agree with you saying that she's probably not going to win it, because it says here Disney's response did not suggest that their ego just settle. They said, quote, Johansson showed callous disregard for the prolonged global effects of COVID-19 pandemic and claimed they've fully complied with her contract. So, she probably just didn't read into it, didn't see things on there with it.
And that's another thing. For those of you watching in there, be sure to read, when you do end up signing contracts, be sure to read the fine print.
Well, also
so stuff like this doesn't happen.
Also, another thing, sure, she wouldn't have made as much money as pre-COVID, but arguably she's making probably more than she would if it was released at any other time, because now things are opening up and people are wanting to go to the theaters and get out of the house. So
that's the other thing. So
I don't know how, in the world of people that are making big money from movies, in the sense of how angry can you be when you're not? It's say you made $10 million. Say you're not getting another 10 mil. How angry can you be?
Well, it's right. It's you're already making 10 mil.
You're already making millions of dollars. Why be angry that you're not getting that little bit more?
And I'm gonna say this is coming from the business aspect of my family, having run our restaurant. you have to understand that the business aspect of it is they weren't able to produce or film anything during that 2020 season, and nothing that
Yeah.
was released into theaters. So as far as 2020 goes, in the movie season, they made no money. So they're trying to basically remake all the money that they lost. Because let's all be honest, Black Widow was supposed to be out in 2020. Fast and Furious 9 was supposed to be out in 2020. Top Gun Maverick was supposed to be out in 2020. Like, all these movies were supposed to be out last year and that are just now coming out. They should have already made the money for that. I think if this movie had came out last year, then she wouldn't be complaining about it. But because of the Disney Plus attribute, she's upset by it, and I don't blame her. But
Well, I mean, even still,
yeah.
I agree with like the business aspect of it, but like we're talking about like Scarlett Johansson. We're not talking about Disney here. We're talking about
Yeah.
a single person that has made millions off of this movie and is
But
complaining that she's not getting more.
well, you also got to understand their living situation. Most of these Marvel celebrities, like as of Chris, they're living in these like very expensive big houses.
But yeah,
that
but that's
require
also their
that
decision
require
to
millions of-
purchase those
Yeah.
big
I
houses.
agree. I agree.
So
but-
like,
but
I mean, it's all it comes down to is those individuals' like ability to budget their money and be able to spend it correctly.
Yeah, not feel like they want to live a lavish lifestyle to, like, I feel like, if you are a millionaire and like you are hit by COVID and then you're like, oh no, I need to stop spending this large sum of money because I have to. Like, I feel like, and I don't, is she married?
I'm not sure.
I don't know if she's like married, has kids or anything, but like, yeah, if I'm pretty sure you could live, if she is herself, you could live a single home lifestyle pretty well. Like, I don't know. It just seems bizarre to be complaining, but then again, getting cheated out of money is never fun, no matter how much you make.
Yeah, that is true.
I do want to move now to a local Lubbock story that I found very interesting. So, this man who is the name of Mayor of East Side was sentenced to nearly 22 years in a federal prison. This man has done a lot, it seems. He started a riot at the Lubbock County Jail back in June of 2021, and he has now been sentenced to nearly 22 years in a federal prison for a drug crime. It says he was arrested in March with possession and intent to distribute crack cocaine, and he was sentenced on Thursday to 262 months in prison. There's an original incident on September 2nd when Lubbock police officers attempted to perform a traffic stop on his vehicle. Then he fled the car on foot with a clear plastic bag containing approximately 48 grams of crack cocaine.
Oh my gosh.
After he was tased, he was then detained. And so this is what blew my mind, and I feel like we need to get to the bottom of this. So it says an undercover investigation revealed that he was running a trap house in East Lubbock selling crack cocaine and was a gang member of the Crips gang. And he had the title Mayor of East Side. Now I'm not updated on gang culture here, but as far as I knew, I thought that was I didn't know like the Bloods and the Crips feud like was outside of like California or like LA or like I don't know like wherever else. I don't know where it originated from. I don't know if you guys could chime in on this if you're any knowledgeable in the gang culture.
Silas, I feel like he would be normal.
I haven't.
being from Lubbock and having lived
If you're
in
have
from
no
Lubbock,
idea.
you know gang culture.
Yeah,
no.
I guess so. No, yeah, no, I have no idea about this stuff. Honestly, I didn't even hear about this until you were talking about it earlier today. So like, this is news to me. So
I feel like there's a lot of like just incidences with things happening in Lubbock that like not a lot of people see unless you're like very up to date on the news or like actually looking into it. But
or you've lived here like for 30 plus years, and you have like your hand in every nook and cranny that and every dirty deed that goes on in Lubbock. So.
well, you feel like that it would have a impact if basically what happened was there was an altercation between him and a rival gang member at the county jail, and then a large riot ensued, and it says the facility was placed on lockdown due to the incidents.
that's crazy. I mean, honestly, it doesn't surprise me because I do know of someone who like is in law and deals with gang stuff, and there's like a lot of like gang activity in like Lubbock and Texas in general.
I
So,
couldn't imagine being a gang unit here because there's probably so much you got to do. Like I met a gang unit who just happened to be making sure we were residents at our pool. I feel bad for him being put on making sure people live at the apartment who's using the pool, but that's just yeah. I feel like you'd hear about that more if there was a riot at the Lubbock County Prison.
well, I guess also a big part of it is not a lot of people watch the news nowadays.
Yeah.
So
It's
Well, between that and then the amount of fake news that happens on the internet on a day-to-day basis, I'm sure many people like they hear this and they're like, "Oh, that couldn't happen here." So
watching local Lubbock news is an adventure
oh yeah.
because I'm sorry. I feel bad for ripping them up just a little bit, but I'm going to. My opinion, not the opinion of the station. So being a major of now soon to be graduate of mass comm, there are a lot of talented kids here making videos and other such things, and my issue is seeing the production quality of some of these local Lubbock stations seem a little below what they're capable of. Like it's just very bizarre to me. Like seeing comparing like one of the stations here to like say a Dallas station. There's a jump in production quality. It just kind of surprises me. There being so much talented kids and like maybe they don't have enough funding. I don't know. But it's like just if you have a chance, just watch an early morning broadcast of one of the things, and it's just so fun to watch because like it's just you get to catch up on Lubbock and all the things that are happening, and like you see a story about some lady who got a raccoon in her house or something. That's what I think I saw. It's very interesting. You get to see what one of the elementary schools is having for lunch or something. It's like here's our lunch update. It's very interesting.
sounds interesting.
But I think now okay, I have to go to my favorite segment now that I have ready. This is gonna blow you guys' mind.
I feel like this may be like I know. Or for those of you watching, I'm like this episode's going by very fast. There's only 3 of us today, so
We're gonna blow through
it's
stuff.
not like a normal show where it's usually me, DG, Ryan, Silas, Perry, Gemma, Nick, Kate, and Caitlin. So that's what 8. There's usually 8.
Yeah.
8 of us here on the show today. There's only 3, so I apologize if it's going very fast. But
So hopefully this will get more talking points. But I found after trying to figure out what's happening construction wise near the sub in the admin building, I found documents that tech sends to the state.
Mm-hmm.
Within those documents, I found how much money they made from tuition and fees in 2020 and 2021. And
mind if we take a guess?
yeah. Let's just say, so let me give you a ballpark. If you've looked at your tuition and fees, you see all those random things that from library to sports stuff to service fees,
And this
grants.
would be for the entire student body, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So anyone that paid a tuition and fee and all those other things. In 2021, what do you think the grand total is? We'll start with Silas. Just a ballpark number. What do you think?
I know, I'm thinking like
And remember, we have 40,000 students
Yeah,
here
yeah, I
at Tech,
know.
so
like 1.5 million.
Okay. Austin, what do you think?
okay. So, how much is tuition usually? It's about 30,000 a year, or something like that, or
It's like
Depending if
it's like my brain is not working. Goodness gracious, like 12,000,
yeah 12
around
yeah.
12,000
So
for
around
one
12,000.
It
person.
gets up to like 20 if you're living in the dorms.
Yeah.
okay. So, 20 if you're living in the dorms, 12. So roughly about This is a difficult one. I'm going to say. So you said 1.5 million. I'm going to play the prices right, and I'm going to say 2 million.
All right. It's time to blow you guys' mind. You are about a couple $100 million off.
Oh my gosh, no way.
In the year 2021, this is all public information, by the way, if you want to fact check me or look this up. But this document that I found is the Texas Tech University Designated Funds Income Budget. So in 2021, for tuition and fees, the grand total came out to a whopping $355 million that they got from tuition and fees.
That is
Wow.
wild.
And then coming down with other sources that say recovery of indirect cost, education-related business activities, Texas Research Incentive Program, and one thing I wish to have one day, other miscellaneous income.
We all want to have that one day.
We do have miscellaneous income. They had a $398 million in 2021, which is legit insane. But yes, they get all that money, but it is distributed to everywhere of the university. So it's not like they're just pocketing the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
So into that, I found how much money each college is distributed, which is very surprising. If you
I'm guessing the Rawls Business College is number one.
no, actually,
I was going to say arts
What?
and sciences is number one.
You're both close. So you were actually correct for the year of 2020. So for 2021, arts and well, let's do this. So
Okay.
the lowest college to get funds is architecture.
Okay, yeah.
Architecture got in 2021 $331,000. That's the lowest. The highest was, I believe,
Language.
engineering in
Oh,
2021.
You know, I
That
could have.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
you know
That
that
makes
does make
sense.
sense. I should have guessed engineering.
Especially with petroleum engineering.
Guess how much they got?
So what was our?
The lowest is 331,000.
No, I'm saying what was the income we got back totally?
It's like
If you
300.
398 million.
398 million. So I'm going to guess that they got over over 200 million.
Did you guess?
No, not yet.
What'd
I
you
was
miss?
thinking about, I was thinking more around like the 100 million ballpark range.
Y'all are very generous. So
Did they get all of it?
no. So our lowest was $331,000 for architecture, but engineering got 17 million.
Oh,
So
Oh,
not that
wow.
insane, but still a lot.
I mean, still, yeah, that's
okay,
a lot.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then sadly, over here at the Media and Communication College, we got the second lowest at $564 million. Not million, sorry.
I was about
Jeez,
to be like, oh
thousand.
my gosh.
That'd be
Well,
insane.
yeah, I was
No,
about to say,
thousand.
you just said, I was about to say you just said engineering got 17 million, and now and you said second lowest at 59 million. I'm
Yeah,
like,
no.
your math don't add up there, buddy.
What's nice though is seeing that 40 million goes to financial aid.
Yeah,
which
That's
is
good.
That is,
Cool.
that is good. That is very good.
Rawls gets 3 million around there. They got 4 million this year.
I would expect them they would get more.
Yeah, yeah. I think. Well, the thing is, this is from tech, and we can't count out. I don't know if this counts donors because donors probably give these colleges a lot. So I don't know if this is included in this amount. So again, media and communications could be getting a lot more with donors, but I know we don't have anything crazy donors compared to Rawls
Or
like Mr. Rawls
engineering.
himself.
Yeah.
So I just found that very interesting. There's a lot in this document.
And for those of y'all listening who are already on campus, we already know that some of that money is going to redo the sub and what's that building?
The
admin.
admin building.
The admin and the sub. So
I have another document for that, which I
Oh,
find
okay.
interesting. My favorite thing is sometimes when they're building new buildings on campus, they have what it's going to be. Then they have their budget. They have to have their budget listed on the bottom. Just seeing the budgets for this building is crazy. One more document before we get to that, though, is the distribution of finances with paying people. So faculty salaries, the money distributed to that is $101 million.
Wow.
So I think I was trying to do the math. I don't know if I did it correctly, but I think the average income hourly, maybe, for faculty here at Tech is like $56, $58 an hour. But then the thing is that I think would range from Skovanek to someone making $725. So that's a
Yeah.
massive range of what that could come out
that
to you.
could go for that's for like
Yearly.
president of each building,
Yeah.
then teachers, and then you have like maintenance, and then you have like student workers. So yeah, that could range for a lot of different ways.
Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can get this up real quick in time. seeing all of. I did find one thing that was really funny. Oh, here we go. So the where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I'm gonna say this wrong. I always say it wrong. Beldos Hall,
Mm-hmm.
one of the residence halls here. So they're getting concrete deck repair and bathroom renovations, and they were given a budget of $3 million. So just
Bledsoe was getting.
yeah, they're getting
Bledsoe? concrete
concrete deck repair and bathroom renovations.
You know, that doesn't surprise me.
Oh, and then Sneed Hall shower toilet renovations.
Yeah.
2.5 mil in the budget for that.
Is that,
That is wild.
that's the one next to Talkington, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's I think it's what Gordon Sneed Hall Knapp are those two that are over there.
Yeah.
I was trying to find the certain parking lot that
It's
apparently
R7, I believe, is the name of the
oh
parking
yeah,
lot.
yeah. I need to see if I can find that real quick. But this is also really fun to look at, so you can see what new buildings might be being made.
Mhm.
So this seems like they're making a new football training facility.
Really?
Interesting.
89,000 square feet for $40 million.
Did they say where that training facility is going to be?
I do not know. It doesn't specify because these are just like
Because they just spent a lot of money on that facility, and
yeah,
right
yeah,
next to
and-
right next to Jones AT&T Center. So
yeah.
Yeah, that the parking lot for the sub and the admin is R7. So
Okay, yeah. I need to see if I can find that again. Looking here.
yeah,
real
but that
quick.
that one they're mainly doing it so they can create a pedestrian walkway down the center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make it more pedestrian friendly, which I completely agree with.
Also, it's fun. So if you guys want to follow along with me, if you look up Texas Tech University Vision and Planning, this is where all of this is listed. They also have campus master plans, which is so fun to look at because they have one from '97, and it's the cheesiest thing in the world. Just like from what people are wearing and like what they expected things to look like back then and everything. Like they had. This is when they were building the USA arena, which is really cool to look at.
So you know what's funny, and I want to kind of ask, but so I'm a third generation tech student behind my mom and dad and my grandpa and grandma. So I want to ask them, like, what was the weirdest thing they saw a student wear to class? Because, like, I mean,
Oh, geez,
like,
yeah.
well, like today you'll see kids in like pajamas, like, or like in like a white beater and like say athletic shorts, or like a white beater and pajama bottoms or something like that. So I want to ask them, and then or the students that come in like a full burrito blanket that they wrap themselves like a burrito and then come to school at like 8 in the morning, which I don't blame them for.
Yeah.
But I want to ask them, like, and then like when the show comes back on in the fall, I want to bring that topic up and see, or bring that back up and tell people what the weirdest the weirdest outfits people would wear back then.
I found what I was looking for. So there's currently 3 projects under construction here at Tech.
One is the
Not the parking lot isn't listed here. I have to
Really?
go to a different link to find that, but I find this interesting. So they just finished the JT and Margaret Talkington College of Visual and Performing Arts. You know how they basically redid the entire building.
Yeah.
And I passed by the other day, and they're doing more construction.
Yeah,
on
I
it.
saw
was like,
that.
what are they doing? So they're
Wait.
adding. This is phase 2, so there are 2 phases.
Oh, okay, got you.
So
That
I think
makes
they're
sense.
actually redoing the theater now portion.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
of it.
that's where the theater is, right by like Talkington, the comms and the library. That building.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like
Okay.
The one that shares the parking lot with the library.
yeah,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
psychology building
Yeah.
right there. But their
That's-
budget for that is 20 mil.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Also, you know the School of Veterinary Medicine that they just made?
Mm-hmm.
That one on the other side of USA, or is that in Amarillo?
I think it's the one in Amarillo. Guess how much their budget was for that?
Something ridiculous.
15 million.
105 million.
Jeez.
Y'all are so generous with your guesses.
Well, I mean, we're not architecture majors, so we don't know how much.
Yeah.
Like we don't know how much everything would cost. Like like for me personally, I have a general idea because there's been instances in my family where we've had to build, where we've had budgets and we've had to build things. For like example, my family's house, my brother's car, my dad's boat currently. So there's
You know,
things that we have to build that require budget. So that I'm kind of basing it off that. But at the same time, I don't know how much. Like I keep forgetting that hey, this is a D1 college. So
yeah. What'd you find, Ryan?
I know you can tell just from my face. I
Yeah.
found, so I looked up this is the completed list of all of the projects they've done
Yeah.
here at Tech, and it looks literally insane with how much money they're spending on so many things. The biggest number I see so far is what? Experimental Sciences Building 2, $79 million. Campus?
279 million.
No, 79 million.
Okay.
Campus beautification, $125,000. TTU campus beautification phase 1 and 2, 4 mil.
Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to find this one, but did you notice like when you walk towards the McKenzie or not McKenzie Park? What is that park?
I'm also afraid of the name. I don't know why.
Urbanovsky?
Urbanovsky, yes,
yeah,
thank you.
I
When you look at Urbanovsky Park, they're building a new volleyball.
They
pit,
are, yeah.
like on the other side of the volleyball courts. So, I'm sure I don't know if I don't think you'll be able to find that. But
Wait,
I've
what are
seen
they
them.
building?
The new, just like a new volleyball court, I think.
So
Oh,
like
new
when you
volleyball
walk
court,
to the
okay,
USA, you have the basketball courts, the volleyball
Yeah,
courts, and
yeah.
then where people play like soccer, frisbee golf, and ultimate frisbee.
Yeah.
Like between the tennis courts and the volleyball and the volleyball courts, they're building another like sand pit for beach volleyball.
Okay. Honestly, that's they honestly needed that because I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many times I've gone over there and there's just people waiting to hop on a court because they're all taken.
It's just
Oh,
packed.
but like playing indoor like when you go to the rec and you want to play basketball, like pick up basketball, it's the same way. And that one they have like 9 courts to choose from, and they're almost all full because they play full court.
Yeah,
Like
and it
basketball.
was kind of funny. I remember, like fall of 2020, whenever that semester started up, they actually only had half the nets up on the volleyball courts, and like to try to encourage people to like social distance and all that kind of stuff. And people would just be playing sand volleyball without a net, and so they're like,
Oh.
you know what, we're just gonna throw up all the nets because
Well, what's funny is like, and I've had it on my screen for the entire time, and I didn't know that while you were talking. So, so YouTube's been looking at my ugly mug for the past 5 minutes. But what's funny about that is like I talked to a guy in Colorado, and this was like spring break before COVID-19, like before everything shut down, and I talked or this may have been after, but I was talking to a ski patrol guy. And he said it's funny that they're closing down like all the outdoor facility and stuff because he said studies showed you were least likely to get COVID-19 in being outdoors, and because you were more likely to be separated from everyone, and you were more likely to get it playing indoor sports. So I thought that was kind of funny, but
You guys know our big scoreboard over at the Jones.
yeah.
Want to take a guess on how much that cost?
Let's see. We've been lowballing everything. I'm gonna say.
like so just the
One-
screen.
The name is Video Scoreboard Package.
Oh, package.
So, like,
So
the
that
whole-
probably
that whole
includes like
piece.
speakers and stuff.
Yes,
I'm gonna
yeah.
probably say like 5 to 10 million.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 100 million.
Silas is the closest, 11 mil
Okay,
for
yeah,
I
that,
either
that
lowball-
video scoreboard.
I either lowball it or highball
that's
it.
wild. Well, honestly, with like something like that doesn't surprise me because like I do a lot of stuff with like sound systems and
Mhm.
lighting and all that kind of stuff, and that stuff gets real expensive real quick. So
I saw one more thing that kind of stood out to me with, oh my goodness. Is that the Media and Communication Building? Let me see what they did, if there's any more information on what this description. Renovation of the previous business administration building. So when this changed from, if people didn't know, this used to be Rawls, or the business college, not Rawls. But apparently the renovations cost 25 mil with an adjusted budget of 25,200,000 and a final cost of $24,500,000, which is insane. So it looks like audio visual upgrades, interior finishes, accessibility, installation of new fire suppression, and so on. Interesting. It's nice though seeing like again saying that not all that money is pocketed from tuition and fees. Like it is actually distributed evenly
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though we don't get a lot. And again, I mean, they probably have a justification for it somewhere.
And what I'm gonna find curious is so Silas, you and me have talked about this on our show, the Rock and Roll Sports Show that's coming up after this show, but we've also talked about it on the Super Summer Spectacular. But it's going to be with the NCAA being allowed to pay players, and my curiosity is are the colleges going to take advantage of that and make even more money than what they're already making?
I found out something interesting a little bit ago. I was talking to, I think, one of the kids, like either on the baseball team or something, or basketball, but they have the weirdest loophole where they technically pay them. So some of the players here, this is not official. I don't know how true this is, but some of the players are given almost like debit cards
Mm-hmm.
that are supposed to be used for meals. So they get an income of money for meals, but you don't have to spend those on meals. So technically, they get a form of money, like large sums of it.
Was this before, like the rule change, or is this? When
I
they
don't know.
started?
This was
Fair enough.
like a few years ago, so I don't know when that rule change was. But like,
Well, the rule change just happened this year.
oh
so-
yeah, this is before. Yeah, so
well, that makes sense because I mean, you're obviously you have to have meals, you be nutritious and stuff like that. So that makes sense, and I'm sure it's probably in their like the budget or something like that's
Oh,
part of
yeah.
your like tuition or meal plans or whatever that they say is included in your tuition. So
But apparently they gave you so much, like they gave you more than you needed for a meal. You know,
that
like
wouldn't surprise me at all.
I do think, though, I hope colleges get on top of that because, like, again, it is a job. How much time they
Oh, yeah.
spend
100%.
training, practicing, doing this sport, they don't have time to go get an actual job or do this other part-time stuff. So, like,
Well, like we've already, I mean, Silas, you and me talked about this earlier, but the six figures that, or actually not even six figures, it was the seven figures that the Alabama quarterback got, and he hadn't even played a down of football, and he's already getting paid over $1 million.
wow.
Some stuff, and then there was another kid, I can't remember his name, but there was another player who just got sponsored by Nike, who's been playing for a college. So, I mean, we're seeing a change in sports, and I don't necessarily know if it's for the better or for the worse for college athletics. So
Speaking of Nike, again, this is more rumors I've heard. So we're still sponsored by Under Armour.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly do not like our Under Armour uniforms or Under Armour gear. I do like Nike's just a little bit more. But apparently, again, this is a few years ago, I heard talk of that Tech was going to sign a new thing with Nike instead.
sign a Nike dealership.
Yeah, and apparently that was going to be around now. I'm pretty sure COVID probably messed that up, but
Yeah.
it was like supposed to be like 2022 was when that came up. So I think maybe this coming fall or soon, or not. Again, rumors that we might see like uniforms or stuff like that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I feel like Adidas uniforms are probably the best. when it
Really?
comes- Well, I mean, when you look at Texas A&M's uniforms, or look at who's another Adidas company that I'm think that.
I didn't know A&M was Adidas.
Yeah, they were Nike when they were in the Big 12, but when they went to when they went to the SEC in 2011, they signed a contract with Adidas, and this is also, I mean, me personally, when I was in when an athletic director came to my school my sophomore or junior year, they got a lot of Adidas stuff. He signed a big contract with Adidas for the entire school for the whole athletics department, and so I think that's where my love for Adidas kind of came in, and because I just like their uniform, excuse me, like their uniforms, like the style, like the material. So, but I mean, yeah, Under Armour, you don't get much as far as the way of coloring. Got a Sports Center update. What we got? Why a Big 12 divorce is happening? We all knew that. So,
This just popped in my head, and I remembered I really wanted to talk about this a bit ago. It's this news article, and a bit of a content warning, because what he did is kind of whack. It's what a Spanish man did to get 12 years or 15 years in prison. I think he should totally get way more than that for what he did. So, content warning about this. So the headline here is Spanish man jailed for killing and eating his mother.
What?
Yes. So Alberto Sanchez Gomez, 28, was arrested um, in 2019, and his trial came up again. But it was after police found body parts around his mother's home, some in plastic containers. So he was saving her parts to eat for later, which is insane. And the court thankfully rejected Sanchez's arguments that he was experiencing a psychotic episode at the time of the killing. But he will now serve 15 years for murder and a further 5 months for the desecration of a corpse.
Wait, so he's only getting 15 years for
Only
murder?
50, and that just blows my mind. This is South America.
Okay,
So yeah, it's a little different. But yeah,
that's wild. I can't
So-
even imagine like the thought process
Wait,
of someone
so-
going through that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Pardon me if I'm wrong, but we've gone through two stories, one on SSE and the other on this one. But we've talked about a guy who has been in prison for for killing and eating his own mother, and we've talked about a guy who was stoned to death.
oh yeah, the man that got stoned.
I didn't hear about that one. I don't think I was on that episode of
So
SSSE.
basically, in Dallas Fort Worth, there was a party. A guy came, or someone came. He was getting mad, he was getting in an argument. He left, came back with a gun, shot the guy he was arguing with, not non-fatally, and then the people around him got angry at him and took like cinder block sized bricks, like industrial sized bricks, and started throwing it at the gunman. He then turned and shot into the crowd, killed one man, and then he was stoned to death. And then the angry mob or rioters continued throwing stones at him, and he ended up dying, being stoned to death.
And like
It's wild.
these weren't like, your casual little red bricks. You would build with. These
Yeah.
were
Industrial cinder blocks. I
these
think.
were
like the concrete.
concrete pavers.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was bad.
and again, yeah, we were talking about how like that mob mentality of like, this man has a gun, he can possibly kill you, but you're like, no, we're gonna chase this man and we're gonna throw pavers at him.
I mean, to be fair, he only showed up with a pistol, so he only had, depending on the pistol, unless it was a Glock, he only had about
Okay,
9
but still
shells.
though,
Still.
still firing backwards into a crowd of people,
While you're
there are
run-
chances.
Yeah, well, while you're running, that's a very difficult shot to do.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still like just that's like one of those scenarios that just should never have happened in the first place.
yeah.
So.
But still, so that was in the DFW area.
That was in the
I think more
Fort
so
Worth.
the Fort Worth
Yeah.
area, yeah.
That is, man, wow, that is crazy.
So-
I feel like wackier things happen all the time in Fort Worth.
That's
mean,
just that's fair.
that area.
Yeah, but I mean, none like stoned to death. I'm like, okay, that's a new one.
That's the kicker there. But yeah, from people eating their mother to people getting stoned to death, that is just pretty
It's been
whack.
a very that's a sick year for criminals.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that occurred.
So.
So now, I had a binge. I had a binge watch on YouTube
Mhm.
the other day of watching because I couldn't sleep. So I started watching compilation videos of people acting like NPCs.
I bet that was a fantastic compilation.
The things, so for people that don't know, so an NPC is a playable character in video games, and they're in certain games from Skyrim, GTA, anything like that. Their dialogue is limited yet scripted. So it's kind of bizarre. So hearing real life people do that, you can look it up like on YouTube and just look up like NPC compilations of people in real life, and it's just very strange. Have you guys seen any wacky things like this?
I
Like
have
looking up
not, but it
NPCs?
sounds very entertaining.
It's joyful. Austin, have you ever?
No, I don't think so. But I'll tell you, you bring up like GTA. So there's a couple YouTubers that come to my mind. One of them is his name is Smitty. He's a Canadian YouTuber, and he recently had a video on his second channel, Smitty Plus, of I think it was him, Buys, Puffer, maybe Grizzy. I can't remember. But they were playing GTA, and the title was "A Hacker Entered Our Game." Well,
Oh, yeah,
with
I've-
GTA, there's a problem with hackers getting into like private game modes and messing with characters and boost and all that. Well, so that one I watched that one and I couldn't stop laughing, and this is like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, And then the other one was it's an older. I don't know if it's still on yet or not, but it's an old series called Open Court from from NBA TV,
Hmm.
and they bring like former players, but it was I think it was your best team or your top 5 players, like players from the '90s, from like different from the decades, and they get to the 2000s, and you just hear Shaq, and he goes myself, Kobe, LeBron, and then he says Tim Duncan, and then they said who's your point guard, and he said that's tough. He said, and he goes, Nash beat me out twice for MVP. I still don't know how. And then he goes AI, and then Ernie Johnson, the quote unquote host of the show, goes, "Hey Shaq, do you need to sit on the couch like as a therapist?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, actually I do." And then just goes on a tangent rant about his NBA career and some things that happened, and I just started laughing,
That's
laughing as hard as I could.
basically like what these people act when they're being NPCs. They go on these weird rants that like make no sense
Yeah.
and just like incoherent sentences, like
Yeah.
this one lady I was watching.
They get him on the couch, and Ernie goes, "So, Mr. Shaq, what seems to be the problem?" And then Shaq's laying on the couch, and he's like, his feet are hanging off the couch because he's 7'2" or whatever. And he just goes, "There was this young little David Beckham looking guy running around like a gnat. He's just passing the ball. He'd score every now and then, but." And so he just goes on, and I just could not stop laughing. And then and then at the end of the show, he's with Phoenix, I think, at the time. And he says the coach. Someone tells us, and I'm not going to say his name, Jason Richardson. Don't leave Ginobili open in the corner, and they leave him open. He shoots a 3, and like NBA, for those of you who don't know, when typically my lights just went off. I'm glad the camera wasn't rolling on my end, but typically they have like a bunch of like food prepared for players. He took the table and flipped it because he was so mad that they lost that game. So yeah, just seeing Shaq, Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, some of these guys go on the rants that they do is hilarious for me when it comes to YouTube.
Yeah,
So-
it's very interesting to see. And like back to like with the NPC peoples, this one dude approached a security guard of this building and was saying, he's like, "Man, I know you." He's like, "What?" He's like, I've seen you before." And he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "I need to apologize." He's like, "'Cause I hate you." He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I've been having these thoughts and I hate you and stuff." And he's like, "Oh, it's okay, man. It's fine. Like, I don't know you." And he's like, I am sorry." And then he like tries to like punch him or something. So he comes at him and then like starts legit like has like a personality change and just starts going like insane and just starts like yelling and screaming and then trying to attack the man still. He's like, "Dude, don't come at me." And he's like, "I'm coming to get you." And then like, and then he just goes limp. And he comes back up and he's like, "Dude, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry." And like starts apologizing and like goes back to the same conversation. He's like, "Dude, I'm sorry. I don't mean to hate you." And then he does it again. He goes, "Ah," and like tries to get at him. And he's like, "Dude, you better get out of here." Like, he's like, "I don't want to hurt you." And it's just weird things like that. And
No,
like,
so it's funny you bring that up because like when you have like those security guard like like I don't know if people have seen those, but those security guard moments. There was one where I don't know what event it was, but it was a security guard, and he had like he was eating like frozen yogurt or ice cream or something, and there's some guy walked up to him and said, "It's like, hey, can I kiss you?" And then the guy's like, "Man, I ain't gonna stop you," or he's like, "I don't want to kiss you." And then he goes like, I might like it, I might not," and then just goes on. And then the guy like leans in for a kiss, and then as he's before he takes another bite, and then the guy leans in for a kiss, and then he puts the spoon down and just uppercuts him right in the chin, like perfect like 90-degree uppercut, and then goes back to eating his frozen yogurt.
security guards are out there
So
making the world a better place.
there's some security guards that I bet have some like very, very funny stories.
One thing I don't like is when security guards have power trips. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
they're not police. They're like almost mall cop level, but they're just like, they just get on those power trips. And they're like, I do this, I do that.
So here's another story I have. This is back in my freshman year, which would have been about 3 years ago. We go to I don't know what the place is called, but it's those apartment complexes that's behind the Rawls Golf Course over on like Eureka and I can't remember what that road is, but like
Almost
right-
like Wildwood area.
yeah, like right where the loop is, like where like 14th, like near 14th Street and
Mm-hmm.
or 4th Street and all that. Like kind of where the like so if you go past Greek Circle and went straight, took a left at the T section, then a right, it's like right there. Anyway, there's like a bunch of people and like because they have those places with fields in behind some house the complexes, and lots of and all of us. I mean, there had been some alcohol. I will not lie. I saw some alcohol bottles. I did not have any, but there were, and there's just a big circle, and it's kids playing, and it's college kids playing Duck Duck Goose. And I mean, like, I admit we were being a little loud at the time, but a police officer comes up and he's like super chill, like nice guy, says, "Okay, guys, I just need you to kind of keep it down." And so we tone it down. While drunken state, kids start getting a little bit loud again, and all of a sudden, this like one of their security, like private security guys come up, and like starts throwing like like you said, goes on a power trip, and like I'm looking around, I'm like, you're going on a power trip on a bunch of kids playing Duck Duck Goose, like I know there's alcohol, but I'm sure half of us here are like or like 2/3 of us here are over 21. Like seriously, dude. So
I had this was like 2 years ago when it snowed here really good. We got like 10 inches of snow or something, and we all went to outside like the clubhouse of our apartment, where there's like a little bit of grass and open area, and there's kids having a snowball fight. So
was this on the previous like back in like earlier this year?
No, this was like a year ago, 2 years ago, I think. Like
it
the
was 2 years
first
ago.
big snow, like 2 years ago. Yeah.
Or was it the one where like it snowed all night and snowed like 12 inches or something?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just,
It was
yeah,
like
I
the
remember.
a real large amount of snow, but there was kids having snowball fights, so I went to go join them. And like we were just having a snowball fight, having a good old time at like 3 a.m.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do. Yeah,
you do.
and this like a beefy dude starts building this massive snowman. I was like, I'm gonna go help him. So I go help him start making the snowman. The kids are still having a snowball fight. Now this is where things took a turn. These kids started packing these snowballs like tight,
Ooh.
and then they were throwing them at cars. So no,
It's
it's okay if you do that if it hits the car and dissipates, and just crumbles like a snowball should. These things are holding their form as they hit the car, and they're making like a loud bang noise. And we're like, what are they doing? That's bad. And they kept doing it. And then they hit what I believe to be an off-duty cop's car driving home with his wife.
No.
This man pulls in, gets out, starts screaming at us. He's like, hey! He's like, do you want me to get the wagon? And wagon saying the big van that they take prisoners away in, criminals, whatever. He's like, you want to get the wagon? And we're like, what? And like me and this man are just trying to build a snowman, and he's yelling at us because like we were closest to the parking lot.
Yeah.
And he's like, go home. Do you live here? Go home. Everyone go home. And so like we're just trying to enjoy building a snowman. And so the main group starts walking away, and then so it's like he legit like was looking at the group, and then he just turns to us and was like, I told you to get out of here. And we're like, we're just building a snowman, man. And I wasn't trying to mess with that, so I just kind of left and went back up to my apartment. But luckily, after I warmed up, I looked out my window and I saw someone had completed the snowman.
Oh,
And they put a beer in his hand. And I was so happy. I was like, look at him. He's all happy and done. So the snowman got done.
I will say this: that was probably like when that like big snowstorm hit. That would have been my freshman year. That was probably like the most fun I've had in a snowstorm in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Like before or since, because you don't get that in Texas. Like the last time that happened was in my hometown, and we didn't even get 12 inches, but we got like 6 or 7, and we were like sledding down. Like at that point, I lived next to a country club that had closed down, and we were like sledding, snowboarding, like having snowball fights, like ATVs, like eight or 4-wheelers and ATVs and all that. So. But, I mean, we were playing Ultimate Frisbee in the snow, which I had never done before, and it was a blast. And I wanted to do it again, but the past 2 snowstorms, or you consider them snowstorms, but the past 2, like, snow encounters we had weren't that good. So, or they were too cold, I'll say. They were too cold.
Silas, do you have any fun little snow stories to keep it going for a little bit?
I don't think I've ever like partaken in like the crazy like snow stuff because I'm just like, I'm just gonna chill inside.
Yeah.
Be safe.
And be safe. But one of the greatest things I did see is like back in like February when we had that like major freeze.
Oh yeah,
Um,
the freeze storm as I
Yeah,
call it.
I remember. I was driving home from work one day, and at the time I lived in Tech Terrace, and I just see this guy on a snowboard, like with a, like holding on to the back of
Yeah,
a truck,
yeah.
and they're just going through the neighborhood, and I was like, that is fantastic. I 100% support this endeavor.
That
you
my
know?
friend, so my friends did that. They went to one of our, so the apartments I told you about where that security guard had their power trip. Some of my friends lived in that same place, and they took one of the guys' trucks, and they didn't do a snowboard, but they did a sled. They did like they got like a trash can lid or something, and just were being pulled behind it. So
Yeah, I saw that with. It's a really dumb idea, but they put them in a laundry basket that
Yeah.
had holes in it.
yeah,
So like she
Like
was
this-
just basically soaked when she got out of it because there's just snow everywhere and it was
Yeah.
like piling
Yeah.
up into the laundry basket, but it was a mess.
I will say that like so I go snowboarding. So normally I don't bring my snowboard stuff home like to Texas because there's no need. But I'm glad I did because I had just come back from a snow trip from like a 17-day snow trip in Colorado. So I brought all my stuff back, and then I was gonna go back in the spring, and I'm glad I brought it for that February snow like freeze.
Yeah, it's. I do hope we see one more good snow in the next few years.
Yeah.
Because that'd be very fun.
Oh yeah,
Take it
it
again.
would be a blast.
I do really hate the cold. Do you guys hate the cold?
I love the cold.
I
Oh,
love it.
man.
I absolutely love
I
it.
despise it because the cold is painful. It's painful.
It is.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Pod Dammit, Not Another Podcast.
And if we don't see you on Monday, we will see you in the fall.
Yeah, and stay tuned next week for a few more shows. Should be fun. And then the fall semester will be starting up full swing. Full. Everyone's gonna be here. Like
Yeah.
it's full capacity, face to face. Gonna be whack. We'll probably get shut down again. But
You'll
you
have fun
know.
with that because I'll be graduated by that point.
yeah, there you go. All right. Well, thank you guys. I've been your host Ryan.
And I've Silas. I don't know.
Also
what
a
I was.
host.
Also a host, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm Austin here in the production studio.
All right. We'll catch you guys later.
All right.